Hey Dave, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Alex. And you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's great to be doing this podcast episode with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
So today we are going to be talking about building better member experiences through strategic partnerships.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're doing this together is because we have particular interests and sets of skills that we obviously do in our professional jobs. I thought maybe I'd just start by asking you what you do.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm a founder at Collaboration Junkie. I'm a nearbound specialist, so I help agencies and associations with their referral and strategic partnership strategy. But I've got a background in the membership and association space, so it's a place very dear to my heart. I used to work for the Chamber of Commerce for 5 years. I then ran my own membership organisation for 10 years, which we grew to a couple of thousand members, almost entirely through referrals and strategic partners, and also partnered with both global brands and kind of small newcomers to market to add extra value to our members. And then since launching my own brand, have supported many associations along the way as well. So, if there's something that's almost as dear to my heart as partnership and collaboration, it's member and customer experience, which segues nicely into you, Alex.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. I'm Alex Blondin, and I suppose I would call myself a strategic customer insights consultant. And basically what I really focus on is helping leadership teams become better at gathering higher quality insights about their customers. My premise is basically that we spend a lot of time gathering data and numbers about our statistics, I suppose, about our customers and even our employees and other stakeholders. And what we're missing as organizations is that qualitative side, the emotional side, where we're actually talking to people and having their stories. And so it's my job to sort of elicit that information out and bring it back to the table so that the senior leadership team and the other teams within any organization, mostly with B2B, and that obviously includes membership organizations, can use that insight to make better strategic decisions.
Yeah. And I think that's where our worlds align. It's about that real human connection. And I think that's what it's about.
It is about the human connection, isn't it? I think what we said when we were preparing this is that that's what we really believe in. So I think we might as well just sort of get it out there. That's our thing. That's what we really strongly believe in. So that's what we'll say here today.
Absolutely. Yes.
But let's get into it. And I think you're the best person to answer this question, and is what do we mean by partnerships and who are we talking about?
I call them strategic partnerships because they need to be strategic. You need to do them with intent and with purpose. And there can be multiple reasons why you would choose to partner with any given brand or organisation. Some could be building your own brand through credibility by association. It can be about member acquisition. There can be an opportunity to drive revenue through partners. Obviously, what we're going to be talking about today is how partners can help drive your member experience, whether that's providing them benefits or experiences or events. And that the experience your members have with your partners is the experience they have with you. So it can help really drive retention. It can help drive referrals from members because they're happy members. It can help drive extra growth from within your membership. But you only get that when you're intentional about your partners and you understand what value your members are looking to give. And so those partners, it's really about aligning the core goals of your membership, which should be aligned with the core goals of your audience in your membership. And making sure the values of your organisation and your partners are aligned as well. And when you've got that practical side, that it's delivering the value your members want, and the value side, that there's a match there, that's when they can be really powerful in helping with the growth of your organisation.
What sort of partners are we talking about exactly? Are we talking about, let's say, your CRM partner, or are we talking about the partners that we then pass the value on to the members of that membership organisation? Great
question, Alex, because the word partner gets bandied around quite a lot, often as a substitute for sales or business development, right? And we should if we treated every relationship like a partnership, the world and our businesses would be a much better place. But yes, in the interest of clarity, the sorts of partnerships I'm talking about and the ones that we really used to great effect when we were growing my own membership organisation are the ones where there is a value-added service or product or something of value that adds to the membership. So the members are either able to experience something in a live setting potentially, or consume content, or physically purchase something that will then help them in their business ongoing. Yes, you might want to partner with your CRM provider, and that might actually help your member experience, of course. But I think I hope we are, based on our preparation, Alex, we're going to be talking about the partners that directly get involved with your membership.
Yeah. And what I like about this also is that I think I'd be quite tempted to just talk about member experience in a very holistic manner, and because there's so many different facets and aspects to it. So what's really good here is we're talking about one specific aspect. And what we were saying when we were planning this is that the partners are being, I suppose, a completely separate entity to you. They potentially got certain ways of doing things. They've got a certain culture. And where that can become a problem is if there is obviously misalignment. And if there is misalignment, I think that obviously has a massive impact on you as the membership organization, because you're basically passing on that experience or that misaligned culture onto your members, who are judging you because something that someone else has done. So I think that's where it's pretty critical.
100%. The experience your members have with your partners is your member experience. It directly reflects to you. I think you're completely right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you mind if Chance have any sort of like examples of where partnerships actually failed? Let's use the word spectacularly, if you have any of those.
One that I openly talk about with our own membership organisation when we had that and we were building out our benefit partners, for want of a better word, is we had a sales data benefit. So my membership was for small business owners typically, and we had a package of benefits like you would get through the Chamber of Commerce or the FSB or many other associations. And the idea was that our members would get an amount of free sales data targeted by them so they could go and prospect it, which was a great benefit, right? The company providing it, a pretty well-known company. I'm sure many people have probably had them in their DMs offering free trials. It seemed like a great benefit, but it didn't quite feel right. Our gut was telling us something maybe wasn't quite right, because for the company, they want people to use the data and then upsell afterwards, which was fine. And we got assurances from them that, no, the benefit was the benefit. But it didn't work out like that. After we launched, we had all sorts of members phoning us up going, I've not been able to get my free data. They tried to upsell, really hard sell me straight away. They said, I don't get my free data unless I buy some other data. And it was not good at all. Now, luckily, it was early days in us building out our benefit package. We had a couple of hundred members rather than a couple of thousand at the time. So we still knew all our members personally because we ran events as well. And our connection with them was strong enough that it didn't do us any brand damage, right? But had that happened a couple of years down the line, it would have been disastrous. We'd have had people leaving left, right, and centre. And we pulled the benefit pretty quickly, found an alternate provider, and all was well. But it really made me realise very early on, you can talk about the need for values alignment all you like. Sometimes you need to be burned by a bad mistake to really realise just how important it is to get that cultural alignment in place and be really clear with your partners around what they're doing.
I think also it feels easy, like, oh yeah, we've got this great organisations that's come to us and sold us an amazing pitch, and it feels awesome, and they've actually thought about our members and everything. And for me, as the membership organisation leader or whoever, I'm thinking this is a great deal, so I'll just pass it on. But if you do that, I think without actually having a conversation with your members first, and I'm not saying you have to go and sort of call them up each one and talk to them individually, that would be very good, but that's quite a sort of a big task. But if you don't ask them what they think, even just to get a sample of ideas of how they would respond, how they would react, it seems ridiculous. But basically what you're doing is you're just sort of throwing something at the wall and hoping it sticks. And as you say, there's that reputational damage that could happen. Okay, if you're small enough that you know everyone individually, then you are judged on many different aspects of talk about that wider membership experience. But when you're a larger organisation and you've got lots and lots of members and you're not necessarily talking to them one-to-one or even one to a few, they are going to judge you on every single aspect. And if that one is the one that's in their face, in their emails, or as you say, they're starting to call you up all the time and giving you basically hell because they're trying to sell you something you don't want, well, to my point again, you as a membership organisation are going to bear the brunt of that, not even the partner. And I'm not saying that is a good thing either, because it's actually a lose-lose for everyone involved, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we did learn very quickly off the back of it, other than just using your gut, which isn't very scientific, but in the partnership space, it's based on relationships. Gut does come into it.
It serves its purpose.
Absolutely, but it was about due diligence.
Yeah.
We knew the sales data benefit was a good benefit for our members. And in fact, with the new partner, we oversubscribed it, which brought its own problems. But the due diligence we went through with all future partners, both in terms of who they were as organisations, but then mapping out things like product launches and trialling with small sets of people and getting feedback. That was our process moving forwards for bringing partners on, was having a really robust onboarding piece, doing research up front to be certain that the partner was right in terms of the service, but then making sure the actual partner that was delivering that was doing it in the right way as well. So.
Okay. So what is the benefit then? We've spoken about the fact that obviously it can have a negative impact, but it can have a very, very positive impact. And what you were saying to me is that actually it has some surprising impacts. It's not just because in my mind, sometimes I imagine a partnership as being, oh yeah, I've just joined this partnership, this membership organization, and I'm getting a 10% discount on this thing and this thing, which for me is not that interesting either. Mm-hmm. But you're arguing that it has many, many more repercussions, positive repercussions to actually bringing in the right partner for your members, not for the membership organisation, but for the members. So what are those?
Yeah, and so you mentioned kind of 10% discounts and things like that. Look, we've all been part of, whether it's our insurance companies or associations we're a part of, the benefit play is there are lots and lots of spaces, which means if you're going to do that, you need to make sure it is the ones that your members really want. So if there is certain bits of software or certain products or servicing that your members are using consistently, then going and getting really genuinely good deals on those will add value to your membership, right?
Yeah.
People will be able to do the quantitative ROI piece of, I pay this amount, actually I'm saving £500 a year on this thing that I need to buy anyway. Or they're getting an enhanced level of service, and there's I could really go down a rabbit hole with what makes a good benefit and not. But essentially, it needs to be things that your members are genuinely interested in and genuinely get value from. 10% off insurance probably isn't floating their boat. No. It's a meh kind of benefit. They can get that from 100%. Anywhere. And it's not, the 10% probably isn't the thing that's going to make a decision either way on whether they purchase something. People buy in very different ways these days. However, where people are looking for, if you can be innovative in new products, services, knowledge that's specific to your audience's space, and you can find partners that can deliver against that, then you're meeting your members' needs. And whether that, so the benefit bit is still really strong. I think where it can play to an even greater strength is when you can ingrain your partners within your own actual membership experience as well. So not just here's a benefit on a portal and send them out an email. It's can we bring people to, can we do live stuff? Can we make it a bit more immersive? So for example, we used to partner with Regis. So we're talking about 10, 12 years ago now, and we used to partner with Regis, and the idea was all our members got a gold card, which means you could use their lounges for free, because Regis's model at the time was they thought if people would use their business lounges, they would then buy offices. Yeah. Now, obviously, the world has changed a lot since then, and it changed as we were working with them. But we were, bearing in mind, we were a relatively small outfit. We were the top referrer into Regis for 2 years running, because we got how to combine the experiences together, and we would go and run our events in Regis centres. And so Regis would put on a really good show of their business lounge. We'd bring our members. They'd invite people from within their business centre, the local business centre as well. So we were attracting new people to us, which meant the members were meeting new people as well. And it was a different venue than going to another hotel again. So we'd make sure we'd pick the right Regis's. And so that just created a different experience. People were going somewhere new. They were getting some genuine benefit from being able to come back and use those lounges. And it just made it felt like something different than other people in our space were doing. And I think that's where you can add value, is when you go, It's not just about the on the face of it benefits. How can we immerse our members within a particular service or particular knowledge space?
I think that what we forget is that a membership, as an individual or as a representative of an organisation joining a membership organisation, it's not just a transactional thing. I know it exists. There are some membership organisations you have to join them, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. There's more to it than that, but let's use that for the example. But actually what you're doing is you're actually buying into an experience. And so there's a huge emotional connection. And I think that often is forgotten too often. And I think that also is the cause for sometimes having misalignment between the partners you bring along that are supposed to add value to that membership experience and what is actually perceived. Because if it's just a transactional thing and that's it, especially today when things are becoming very, very easy access, lots of things you can get from different places at very, very low cost. What is it that makes that membership organization's experience better is the things where you understand the emotional connection you have with your members and how every single part of the experience impacts them. And as per the conversation today, how the partnerships that you have, I suppose, curated and chosen for them are going to enhance that emotional connection in hopefully a very, very positive way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, as you said, that goes from benefits, which I think is the traditional view of it, to event partners, to knowledge sharing, and the partners don't just have to be there long term as well. There could be a particular thing that's happened in your industry or space where you need a partner for right then to deliver value and to be seen to be, if not ahead of the curve, very much on the curve, if you see what I mean. And so, but that comes from understanding your members and knowing what they're thinking, or even what they should be thinking about, and being ahead of the curve is even better. So I think, you're completely right. Okay, Alex. So I've talked about when partnerships go wrong, but actually the value they can bring as well. So from your side though, we've spoken about the need to understand member insights.
Yeah.
How can membership organisations leverage those insights so that they can pick the partners that really do resonate most with their audience?
Firstly, we need to define what those insights are. A lot of organisations, and any organisation, is probably very, very good at collecting quantitative data. So even sending out a survey, looking at how they engage with your events, as you say, like looking at how many people turn up to an event is a good indicator. What I want to give as a takeaway is make sure that you really, really focus on the qualitative insights that you can gather from your members. And it feels like it's a lot of effort because, you've got to talk to people and all that sort of stuff. But actually, the amount of quality that you get out of it is actually worth more than just sending out a survey. And often what happens is a survey is sent out once a year and you're just getting answers to the questions that you want to ask. And so you're not really getting anything outside of your comfort zone, which means that year on year, you're still going, everything's fine, everything's great, and you're probably missing a lot of signals. So the point is that you want to be able to have conversations with people so that you can actually find out the answers to the questions you did not know you needed to ask. Once you've got those answers, then you can start basically questioning the assumptions and that you've been making, or even the biases that you've been putting on the table and going, I really think that this is a great thing. We should be doing more, more golfing sessions because that's a really great thing. Everyone loves that. Well, no, that person loves the golfing session. And there might be a small group of people who've been there for a long time who love it. But what's happened in, let's say you've been around for 20, 30 years, you've got new members, new generations, who've got new interests. And if you're not paying attention to what they have to say, you're probably missing the mark. And there might be still a very, very strong residual positive membership experience, but that will eventually disappear. So my point is that by having those conversations, you can really find out the things and anticipate the things that you may not have known by just sort of scratching the surface. And what it means, to come back to your point about how does that relate to partnerships, I think, again, it's a way of making your life much easier. So why have to go through the palaver of guessing which partners are the right ones, etc., when you can literally just go and talk to your members, and on a regular basis, you can even do it informally at events or whatever, but they're going to tell you what they think is important to them at their stage of their journey of whoever they are, whichever organization they are, or even individuals. That insight and that information, as long as you know how to look at it, organize it, and assess the themes and the patterns, I think just suddenly makes your life so much easier when you're going and saying, these are the partners for us, and these ones are not. And the other thing is that if you say that your culture is X, Y, Z as a membership organization, have you checked if that is the culture that your members are experiencing actually? Because sometimes and often I think there's a dissonance between the two. Like what you think and what you're assuming is the experience you're giving them, and that cultural experience you're giving them, they might be having something completely different. So you better find that out, so that when you go and talk and decide who is going to be the right partner or partners for them, not for you. But what you end up doing is doing partners that sound great for you. And that's where you get your 10% golfing discount and you're really happy and your members are going, so what? I mean, it's a silly example, but it's sort of, I've heard of it before.
Yeah, and I think the culture one's really interesting, because if you recognise that your culture needs to shift, maybe there is a changing of the guard, which you kind of hinted at, then actually selecting the right partners and then looking at how those partnerships are actually activated, because not all partnerships are the same, that can help drive the culture in the direction that you need it to go as well, so that it does align with what the members are saying. And so I think it's it can become an accelerator of, but you need to know the data first.
Yeah.
So, as you say,
I don't know what you think about this, but I'd argue also that, let's say if you are in a stage where you're actually struggling and you actually do realize that things are maybe not great from, again, let's say from a member experience, but maybe you're just seeing your members leaving, and so you're starting to see there's a problem. If you start understanding what those problems are, what the problems or the challenges that your members are experiencing, finding the right partners to bring back into that experience is probably a good way of actually sort of turning the tide and going, actually, yes, we used to be like this. We didn't really listen to our members, so we just gave them a very meh experience. And so they're all going, which is a bit of a shame, because we need to be able to have members to survive. And also because members are actually member-to-member experience, is part of that fundamental membership model. Suddenly, I think bringing the right members can make them go, actually, no, they've understood me, they've heard me. Yes, it was bad before, but now they're giving me something that is really, really good and critical to all the challenges that I'm facing right now, or it's given me some great benefits that I really, really love and value. So I am definitely staying, and I am now going to start to say to people, you guys should join me here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about that rate of change. If you realise that you need to shift something, then just doing that through your own methods, be that content, be it events, be it member conversations, be it whatever it may be, yes, you need to do all that stuff. I'm not saying that, but that takes time.
Yes.
Partners accelerate that process. And as you say, it shows your values, it shows that you're listening, and the members can, it's a very clear indicator that an association's taking action, that they are doing something different. They're not just saying they're doing something different, they're out there doing it. So I think you're exactly right. It can be a really strong, quick way of having immediate impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of expectations, then, do you have any thoughts in terms of what? I suppose what I'm getting at is, are there any? I'm jumping ahead at practical advice here, but in terms of the expectations of members, how would you? Because for me, I could go and talk to people and just ask them. But you, from your experience from the inside, what sort of member expectations would you be looking for to find out what the right partners are?
Yeah. Okay. So I think there's the understanding of what your members are looking for. There's also the understanding of, because what your members say they need is one thing, and you need to provide that. But then ideally, you want to be in a position where you're slightly ahead of that, right? There's a brilliant Henry Ford quote, isn't there, of, if I gave people what they wanted, it would have been faster horses. So, and I think that speaks to more your side. It's about having your finger on the pulse. It's about not just talking to your members, but talking to the real industry experts that are within your given space, right? Which is a partnership in its own right. From that point of view, it's about setting expectations with the partner. It's about you being really clear about, as an association, what your values are, what your members' values are, because look, we're all tribal, right? And you could ask, an association is a tribe of sorts. People want to belong to it. Even those ones where people have to join, I'm sure you'd rather want to be a part of something than begrudge being a part of something.
Absolutely.
And so that values piece has to be aligned, and that expectation has to be met from the partner first and foremost. This is how we communicate with our partner, with our members. These are our values, and this is our culture. That alignment has to be there. So that expectation really has to be set at the outset, and that's what we didn't do with the, I almost said the name of the company then, but the bad experience that I mentioned with I remember, we didn't set that culture out. From there, though, with the practical stuff, it's about having a real roadmap of what the activity with a partner looks like. Even if this is a short-term partner, a one-off event kind of thing, it's still what does that look like pre, during, post. If the partner's going to be gathering data themselves, let's say because it's a certain event, how are they going to be following up with your members? They might say, well, that's none of your business because it's our data now. Well, then that for me, that's red flag. So it's about all these things. It's about, and it can seem counterintuitive when you're forming a partnership and everyone's excited because you've decided, because maybe it is the right thing in terms of match of values and match of service for the member, whatever that is. It can seem really counterintuitive to kind of go, I know we're all excited, but now let's stop. Like, what does this actually look like? Who is doing what and when? Let's have a proper marketing plan in place. Let's understanding what it's not just about what success looks like for the members, and then the membership organisation is what success looks like for the partner. Because if the partner's needs aren't being met as well, then they're not going to continue to deliver the level of service that as an association you want them to add the value to the members. And so it is about, it has to be creating this virtuous circle where everyone gets involved. And the expectation piece is literally just about asking those questions. Understanding what success looks like for your members, then being really clear about what a successful partnership would look like for you as an association, and then making sure that that aligns with what success looks like for the partner. And once you've got that bit in place, you can then do the very strategic, what does this look like practically? Is it content? Is it events? Is it conversations with members? Whatever it looks like, you can then map that out.
Yeah, and I think that's where the mapping part is really important. I would argue, or I would recommend literally doing the map and looking at, as you were saying, like what's going to happen the moment they start delivering whatever it is they're delivering. What's going to happen? What data are they going to be collecting? Are they going to be using that data? Obviously, you need to know if that was already agreed or not, and what's going to happen to that, and then what's going to be the repercussion on the members. It's really important, and it's not complicated. It's just a sort of a logic exercise, isn't it? Where you just go through and you say, right, circle one is here's the member in the middle, and now we've got the partner and we've got us. But the other thing I would also add to that is that within that equation, I often talk about, because I talk about customer experience, which is member experience. It's everything that's got a human in the middle of it. But it's not just looking at the customer. Customer experience is not just about the customer. It's about also the employees and all the other stakeholders. And I would put the partners in the stakeholder sort of bubble. And you look at all three, because also the employees, like what if you've got a partner who's maybe great for the members, but who's absolutely horrendous working with from inside the organization? What's that going to do to the staff's morale and their desire to actually also deliver the great experience that they're supposed to be delivering to the members? That's a problem as well. So it's also really important that looking at all the different facets and not just looking at it in a sort of a 2D. It has to be like a 3D model. Who are all the different stakeholders, to use the term in its more general form, and how are they impacting each other? What's that ecosystem we're living in? And let's go and find out where those friction points are that are going to impact that central piece, which is the member experience in what we're talking about. Yeah,
I talk about partner value propositions quite a lot, which is understanding the real value inherent within a partnership. So if we use the benefit example, the value proposition from the partner isn't the fact that members get 10% off a service, right? It's a much more joined up thing than that. Yeah. But all too often when people form partnerships, it's formed at a let's say a sales director or a membership director role and a similar partner manager role within the partner. Yeah. But actually all too often those people aren't the people that, and they're talking about the need, what success looks like for the needs of the business at a top level. And as they should, it has to start there. Very rarely are those people that are involved in forming the partnership the ones that are activating it on a day-to-day basis. If it's a content-led partnership, then there's whoever's doing your marketing within your association. If it's an event-led one, then it's your event organisers. And maybe it's your membership managers on a more day-to-day basis. And their value proposition for those people individually, well, obviously it should be aligned with what the organisation's objectives are as well. It will be slightly different. Yes. And so actually making sure that everyone involved understands what's in it for them and why it benefits them both personally as an organisation and for the partner and for the member is really important. And I think it comes back to that culture and values piece. But it's about, you're right, it's about going the next level down to make sure that everyone is on board with this. And it doesn't just become oh, look, we've got a new partner and we've run an event and sent a couple of emails out and then it all just filters away. It's about going, no, this is something where we see real value and we're going to bring everyone along on board.
I think it's really hard to manufacture a good experience now. It's not possible anymore. I think it used to be back in the day, but when you didn't have as many communications tools and just in general things that allowed you to create a variety of experience in different manners, it was very simple. Maybe a membership organization was purely about who was inside, so you can control like basically who gets in, like a nightclub, isn't it? Really? You sort of say, yep, and that because these people are in here, that's that, and that's enough. Nowadays, that's no longer enough. So you have to really, really, really understand all the different pieces, all the different players, and be actually really sensitive to how they are experiencing that as well. Otherwise, as I was saying earlier, and to your point, that member experience is going to be affected somehow. And the worst part is if you're not looking into this, you're not really aware of where those problems are. And I know I'm going a bit beyond the partners here, but it's still very relevant to
absolutely.
the partnerships. And if you're not aware of that, you're going to go and try and maybe fix something that's completely wrong. So it's really, really important to have those conversations. And I would say as well, why not also have those conversations on a regular basis with your partners as well? Talk to them, ask them, what is your experience? How could we improve that? What could we do better? Because they'll have loads of views on things. They'll have interacted with your members as well. So actually, again, there's this whole ecosystem of people positively feeding in to you insights and information that you can use to make better strategic decisions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if your partners are actually leaders in the field that you're in, then actually they might have insights that help shape other things within your organisation. And so that's when a partnership, that's kind of the secondary benefits of partnership, is where we have the main reason we're working together, but actually how can we all help each other in a more holistic way? And that's when partnerships are working at their absolute peak. So.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, actually. I think that's a really good point, that if you're working with the ones who are within your industry and at the forefront, they're also able to make you a better organization because they're sort of bringing you along in a journey and making you at the forefront. And if the partners, because also they're selecting you, it's not you selecting them
absolutely.
On their own, if they see you as being the right place to be, there's a sort of a mutual benefit to get through working together where everyone's going to go, wow, if I come to this organization, they've got all these partners that I can't really access anywhere else. I want to be there, which means that you're going to get a lot of interest in members wanting to, or people wanting to join you as members.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's a really strong attraction tool. There's the old things that there are. You're the mix of the 10. You're the mix of the company you keep, right? The 10 best people you are, right? So have the 10 best partners, right?
So we talked about what bad partnerships look like and what good partnerships look like, but what if the membership organization is not getting any signals that their partnerships needs reevaluating? What do they do? Because on the face of it, probably everything is okay, right?
Yeah. Do you want to be okay though?
Well, yeah. Doesn't sound great.
Yeah. No news is not good news.
Yeah.
Essentially, because all right, someone might not be having a bad experience, but not bad experiences or meh kind of experiences aren't what drives the culture of your association. It isn't what drives new members. It isn't what drives referrals. It isn't what adds to the experience and keeps people not just renewing their membership year on year, but being really excited to renew their membership. It doesn't create raving fans of your brand. And if anything, the meh ones, then they don't sit in the middle. They are more on the negative side because it shows that maybe you're not really thinking about what your members really want. You want people to have an opinion. And you want that opinion, obviously you want that opinion to be a good one, but things that just sit there in the background, for me, it's not that they don't add value, they actually detract from it as well. If you've got 15 partners and 12 of them are great, but 3 of them people go, oh. People remember the ones more than they do the great ones. It's the negativity bias that unfortunately lots of people have. If you're not getting signals, then go out and get some signals. It would be my first thing. Because maybe everything is great, you're just not being good enough at finding out. But I think there probably are signals everywhere, be that dwindling events or whatever it may be. But I think we move into your territory with this now. But essentially, no news is not good news.
Yeah, I'd agree. And also what I've seen, we've both been part of various membership organizations, is that you may not be hearing that conversation, but it is happening. And the members are talking and they are networking because that's what you're there for. And they are going, so, how are you finding it? Or even if you're coming along to get a taster and you're starting to talk to people and they're all saying, hopefully not, but imagine they're all saying, well, meh, you're not going to join. And if you as the membership organization is not keeping an eye out for, or an ear out actually for this, there's a problem. And as membership organization leaders, we should not expect people to literally come and knock on your door, virtually or physically, and say, by the way, here's a full report of everything that I'm hearing at the moment. They're not going to do that. It's not worth their time. But weirdly, what I have seen is that when you do go and ask people what they think, they really value it because they see that you care. And so it's actually much easier than we think to go and talk to your, in this case, members, but customers as well. So it's a really good way to go and find out, because you're absolutely right. If you're not hearing anything, I would probably prefer to say something's really wrong here than go, oh, no, everything's great. Like I'm not hearing any complaints. So, we should just continue as if everything was fine. That iceberg over there, fine.
Yeah, because I think no matter how we spoke earlier about partnerships can be a great way to quickly turn the tide. But if you wait until you're hearing bad things, then even when you do that, it's going to be too little too late. People would have made the emotional decision, and we've talked about being part of a tribe and values, it is an emotional thing to commit to and engage with an organisation. They'd have already made the emotional decision to not renew. And changing a belief in that way is very, very hard. So you absolutely need to be ahead of the curve on this stuff. Okay, so to wrap up, and we could talk all day about this, I'm sure, but to wrap up, we've spoken a lot about how important, and of course it is, to understand your members. What's the key takeaways people should take from this, both in terms, not just in terms of partnership, but their broader member experience around sourcing member insights?
I would start by saying that conversations are far more valuable than, let's say, surveys. To just give that quick sort of easy example, asking people in a conversational way what they think enables them and allows them to really, really talk about the things that matter to them. And what you want to know about your members or your customers in general is what matters to them. And if you're not doing that, my concern is that you're not getting the right information. And yes, you might be, as we said, you might be getting information. You're seeing that you've got great attendance at most of your events and your survey is largely positive. But actually, you don't know if you're asking the right questions. So my advice is to always favor going and talking to your members, understanding their emotional connection with you, because they're not only going to tell you what's wrong before it's too late, but they're also going to start giving you ideas from other experiences they've had, because they value the fact that you're talking to them and valuing their thoughts. They are going to want to give you other ideas that you can incorporate to make the experience much, much better. So for me, I'm not going to go too far into this because there's different ways of looking at it, because it is about understanding member needs, it's aligning on values, it's fostering or continually assessing and evolving the relationship you have. But the secret sauce is just talking to them. And if you have to pick up the phone to a few of them to make sure that you're getting that insight, just go ahead and do that. You'll be quite impressed by the quality of the information that you get.
Nice.
What about you then? What's the biggest takeaway about partnerships you want listeners to remember after this episode?
So I think partnerships can play a key component in the success or otherwise of your association. They can help shape and shift your culture if needed, and they can add immense value to your members both directly and indirectly and enhance that experience. But of course, it starts with everything that you've just spoken about to make sure you're selecting the right ones. But if you're going to have a really properly embedded partnership strategy, find the partners that will really add value to your members. Be very clear on the value that they're going to bring, and be very clear on exactly how the relationship is going to work right across the lifetime and right across multiple touch points. Have processes, essentially. Map this stuff out. Continue to review as you go on. And then I guess it loops back round to going back to your stuff and reassessing, and then coming back to your partners. Yeah. And it's about understanding just how much a key stakeholder partners can be in shaping membership organisation, its reputation, both internally with your members, but externally with all your potential members as well.
I agree. Okay. So now that we've reached the end, I think what we should be mentioning, if everyone's reached the end of this episode and listened so far, is that you and I are going to be doing some roundtables in early 2025. So if you're interested, just reach out, obviously, to myself or to you, Dave, and hopefully we can carry on this conversation.
Yeah, we'd love to. I think the joy of those roundtables is it'll be about. We've obviously spoken about our own experiences, but there's always something really powerful about people coming and bringing their own questions and sharing their own experiences. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to those events.
Yeah. And it's more insights as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, been an absolute pleasure. And thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you.